Talk to the Labour MP Graham Allen, who I hope is in our Westminster studio for us. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Mr. Allen. What's your reaction to this development?
I think we're chasing the wrong hare. This B-Sky-B stuff, it's been important. It's been resolved now. There's a nice cosy consensus in the House of Commons about what we need to do about it, and they've withdrawn the bid. The big picture here is about regulation of the media and about ownership of the media. And I think if we now just get sucked into which celebrity had their phone tapped or what horrendous thing emerges from the news of the world, we'll be missing the really big stuff. And that's why I sought to amend the proposal on the floor of the House of Commons today to actually extend it so that we cover ownership and we cover regulation. I'd like to see the press regulated in very much the same way as the BBC and the independent television companies and radio, so there's a proper legal framework, and also have clarity about how many news outlets and media outlets one person or one organisation can own. Until you resolve those questions, then Laura Kuenssberg's absolutely right. In 6 months' time we could be back in exactly the same position.
Do you not believe or accept that the inquiry that David Cameron has announced this afternoon will cover exactly the issues and investigate them that you've just raised?
Apparently not, no. This will be about the history. This will be about what has happened at the News of the World and News International and the B-Sky-B deal. It won't be about how we put forward proposals to properly regulate the press and also to properly regulate the way in which individuals and organisations can seek to get a monopoly of press outlets. Those are the key things, and at the moment I think we'll be sucked into a maelstrom, rather like on the Iraq war over, the dodgy dossier and 30 minutes missiles from there to here and all that sort of stuff. The media love that stuff, but I think we've got to also, as politicians, step back and lay down some very clear lines about how we deal with these issues in future. So don't address just the symptoms, but actually the causes of the problems that we've seen in the press the last few weeks.
I've got the inquiry terms of reference here, and one of the things that it says it is tasked to do is to make recommendations on a new, more effective policy and regulatory regime which supports the integrity and freedom of the press, the plurality of the media and its independence from government. So it is addressing those issues that you've raised.
If the Prime Minister has said that today, I would welcome that, and I would need to be reassured that that is actually the centre of gravity of these inquiries. My anxiety is that that will be peripheral, and what we'll have is a sort of a media storm around who said what to whom, who's been tapped, who's been in the papers, which celebrity is objecting to this. If the focus genuinely, in the midst of all that maelstrom, can be about future regulation and future plurality of ownership, no one will be happier than myself. But it doesn't look, if you just throw that in as a bone for the dog, me being the dog perhaps, just to satisfy one or two people, and it's not done seriously and separately, then I'm afraid we could just end up in yet more and more juicy stories to keep people happy in the very short term, rather than sorting out the mess that's been created by lack of regulation and lack of diversity and plurality in a free press in this country.
OK, well, Graham Allen, we're